I decided that other intro was stupid, so please enjoy this slideshow of random Italian brands. Okay, so today we're talking about Italian fashion history. I've talked about fashion history before, but each country has its own very deep, personal, complicated history, and Italy is obviously no different. There's so many details that I'll never even be able to touch on. So please enjoy this random stuff I know. Like most countries, Italy's idea of fashion grew with wealth and royalty. Fashion standards were generally set by queens during the pre-Renaissance period and through the Renaissance. Italian royalty were adorned with crowns, beautiful dresses and robes, and beautiful colors. This was obviously a luxury which common folk couldn't afford. But coming up on the mid-1700s, something was changing in politics as well as in fashion. In 1776, America signed the Declaration of Independence. America disowned its royalty, eventually rolling into the French Revolution in 1789. As dominoes began to fall, royalty fell out of vogue around the world. Even royals that retained their monocratic government lost the majority of their power, and the playing field was finally becoming leveled in politics and in fashion. At the beginning of the 20th century, Italy began to take its place in the realm of designers. While Paris raised designers like Coco Chanel and Poirperet, Christian Dior, and others, Milan produced Elsa Schiaparelli, and future industry giants like Prada and Gucci began their companies at this time. Sadly, just as glitz, glam, and finely made clothes began hitting the markets during the 20s and 30s, World War II changed the clothing industry forever. Clothing rations made it impossible for designers to completely fulfill their visions. Even Paris had to reduce their silhouettes and length, and women began wearing pants to work while their husbands were away at war. But following the war, the fashion industry began again thriving. In 1947, to bring life back to the Parisian fashion scene, Christian Dior released the new look, which swept across the world, including Italy. American financial aid allowed the textile industry to boom. New designers began popping up, and for the first time in Italian history, people were noticing their designs. Pushed forward by Schiaparelli's success, Zoe McCole and Giovanna Fontana founded Sorelle Fontana in Rome of 1943, reaching similar heights to the Milan designer by dressing popular Hollywood starlets like Elizabeth Taylor and Audrey Hepburn. In 1951, Giovanna Battista Giorgina hosted the first ever Italian high fashion runway show at his personal residence, Villa Torrigiani, with the support of 6 high-status American buyers and fashion editor Irene Brin, who advertised the event internationally. The fashion show inspired more and more shows year after year, eventually birthing Milan Fashion Week in 1958. The success of this event would land it alongside London, New York, and Paris as a fashion capital of the world, and an official major city in which Fashion Week occurs yearly. It was at this time that Made in Italy began representing quality, elegance, and detail. The 50s and 60s represented a radical turning point for the identity and aesthetic of Italy as a country. Directors and prides of their country, Federico Fellini and Michelangelo Antonioni, warped the Italian sense of beauty forever. La Dolce Vita and Nights of Cabiria, some of the director's most popular films, were a commentary on the then state of Italian style and culture. Following the war, the country was begging for a creative outlet to work through the grief. Through lavish costumes and beautiful dresses, stylized clothing and the little black dress were popularized through films such as these. Continuing into the 80s, Italy began to embrace the maximalist aesthetic. Our upscale brands like Prada, Versace, and Gucci finally began to thrive. They pushed the bold, sleek, and elegant look. Particularly, Gianni Versace dressed women so they would feel empowered, bold, intimidating, and sexy. Versace was killed in 1997. This and the change of not only the decade or century, but the millennia, caused a huge shift in fashion. These big brands have completely changed their image since the sleek, sexy looks of the 80s and 90s. Alessandra Michele, directing Gucci since 2015, has included massive shifts, contrasting the days of Tom Ford. Designer Jeremy Scott of Moschino has begun referencing pop culture and poking fun at his own industry, even joining political debate through his art. In the modern day, designers and directors are flipping the idea of traditional fashion house started way back at the beginning of another century and shaping our own world of fashion and our future. Italy has become a fashion giant since the days of Elsa Schiaparelli, and throughout the past century, they have retained their style and quality. A common thread is Italy's ability to work outside the norm. A political statement, a reference to the 80s, a lobster dress. Italian fashion, in one word, is innovative. Next time, I am going to be talking about modern designers and how we are continuing to be innovative, even today.